This is part B of Chapter 8. Microsoft launched the Zune Media Player with features that should be subject to network effects, the ability to share photos and music wirelessly, squirting content to other Zune users. The firm even promoted Zune with the tagline, "Welcome to the Social." Problem was, the Zune Social was a party no one wanted to attend. The late arriving Zune garnered a market share of just 3%, and users remained hard-pressed to find buddies to leverage these neat social features. In other words, even a high-tech, feature-rich network application can be deemed useless in the market if users do not connect. Firms may offer to subsidize initial adoption in hopes that network effects might kick in shortly after. Subsidies to adopters might include a price reduction, rebates, or other giveaways. PayPal, a service that allows users to pay one another using credit cards, gave users a modest rebate as a sign-up incentive to encourage adoption of a new effort. This brief subsidy paid to early adopters paid off handsomely. eBay later tried to enter the market with a rival effort, but as a late mover, its effort was never able to overcome PayPal's momentum. Gift Group, a high-end fashion flash deals site, used subsidies to increase adoption of the firm's mobile app, Gilt on the Go, fueling the growth of a new and vital distribution channel. Mobile is especially important for Gilt, since the firm offers flash sales, making sure the firm can message users on their non-desktop screens increases the chances for the firm to reach and engage consumers and rack up more sales. Subsidizing adoption after a rival has achieved dominance can be an uphill battle, and sometimes even offering a service for free isn't enough to combat the dominant firm. When Yahoo introduced a U.S. auction service to compete with eBay, it initially didn't charge sellers at all. But eBay sellers were reluctant to leave for two reasons. There weren't enough buyers on Yahoo to match the high bids they earned on much larger eBay. Any established seller leaving eBay would give up their valuable seller ratings and would need to build their Yahoo reputation from scratch. While there's no magic in the servers used to create eBay, the early use of technology allowed the firm to create both network effects and switching costs, a dual strategic advantage that has given it a hammerlock on auctions, even as others have attempted to mimic its service and undercut its pricing model. Since all products and services foster some sort of exchange, it's often possible to leverage a firm's customers to promote the product or service. Viral promotion involves leveraging a firm's customers to promote a product or service. Uber and PayPal used similar strategies when trying to jumpstart network effects that were vital in creating their dominance. Each company leveraged viral customer promotions by giving incentives to customers who helped recruit friends to the service. Internet calling service Skype has over 600 million registered users, yet has spent almost nothing on advertising. Neither does WhatsApp, with over 1 billion monthly active users. The rise in social media has made viral promotion a tool that many firms can exploit. Facebook, Twitter, and mobile app integration with a phone's address book all act as a catalyst for friends to share deals, spread a good word, sign up for services, and load applications. Viral promotions are also often linked to subsidies, for example, recruiting a new customer and you both get money to spend. But they can also provide the additional benefit of leveraging a trusted friend to overcome adoption inertia. Uber and Airbnb are firms that have both used these incentives as trust proxies, or what is sometimes referred to as social proof. When a friend sends an invite to a service where users may otherwise have trust concerns, an endorsement by a friend can ease concerns. If a big market attracts more users, firms can redefine the space to bring in more users. Nintendo did this when launching the Wii. It chose to develop a machine to appeal to families, women, and age groups that normally shunned alien shoot-'em-up games. By going after a bigger, redefined market, Nintendo was able to rack up sales that exceeded the Xbox 360, even though it followed the system by 12 months. Market expansion sometimes put rivals who previously did not compete on a collision course as markets undergo convergence, when two or more markets, once considered distinctly separate, begin to offer similar features and capabilities. Envelopment is said to occur when one market attempts to conquer a new market by making it a subset, component, or feature of its primary offering. Cisco purchased Pure Digital, maker of the Flip video recorder, but ended up shutting the unit down a little over 2 years later. The reason for Cisco's failure was envelopment. Smartphone manufacturers and music players began to offer video recording features, enveloping the benefit provided by Pure's gear in their offerings. An example of envelopment is Nokia, a cell phone brand that offers digital cameras as part of its cell phone products. It is now in direct competition with camera brands such as Canon and Sony and has become the world's largest seller of cameras. Rather than cede its dominance as a media player, Apple leveraged a strategy known as envelopment, where a firm seeks to make an existing market a subset of its product offering. Apple deftly morphed the iPod into the iPhone, a device that captures all of these product categories in one device. The firm went further. The iPhone is Wi-Fi capable, offers browsing, email, and an application platform based on a scaled-down version of the same OS X operating system used in Macintosh computers. The concept of Blue Ocean strategy was popularized by European Institute of Business Administration, INSEAD, professors W. Chan Kim and René Mauborgne. The idea, instead of competing in blood-red waters where the sharks of highly competitive firms vie for every available market scrap, firms should seek the blue waters of uncontested new market spaces. Blue Ocean strategy often works best when combined with strategic positioning. If a firm's claim in the blue ocean is based on easily imitated resources, like technology features, then holding off rivals will be tougher. While Sony and Microsoft focused on the graphics and raw processing power favored by hardcore male gamers, Nintendo chose to develop a machine to appeal to families, women, and age groups that normally shunned violent games. The strategy adopted by Nintendo in this example is the Blue Ocean strategy. Firms can also use partnerships to grow market share for a network. Sometimes these efforts bring former rivals together to take out a leader. Citibank was the first major bank in New York City to offer a large ATM network, but the Citi network was initially proprietary, meaning customers of other banks couldn't take advantage of Citi ATMs. Citi's innovation was wildly popular, and being a pioneer in rolling out cash machines helped the firm grow deposits fourfold in just a few years. Competitors responded with a partnership. Instead of each rival bank offering another incompatible network destined to trail Citi's lead, competing banks agreed to share their ATM operations through New York Cash Exchange, NYCE. While Citi's network was initially the biggest, after the NYCE launch, a Chase Bank customer could use ATMs at a host of other banks that covered a geography far greater than Citi offered alone. Network effects and ATMs shifted to the rival bank alliance. Citi eventually joined NYCE, and today nearly every ATM in the United States carries an NYCE sticker. While Uber continues its relentless march toward world domination, 4 of its biggest global competitors have formed an alliance to reduce costs, preserve their strength in markets where they lead, and build a global rival to Uber everywhere. The firms Lyft, Ola, and Grab Taxi, now known as Grab, share technology, local market knowledge, and business resources, with the leading firm in each nation handling mapping, routing, and payments. Sometimes firms decide from the start to band together to create a new, more open standard, realizing that collective support is more likely to jumpstart a network than if one firm tried to act with a closed proprietary offering. Examples of this include the coalitions of firms that have worked together to advance standards like Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. While no single member firm gains a direct profit from the sale of devices using these standards, the standards backers benefit when the market for devices expands as products become more useful because they are more interoperable. Firms can also think about novel ways to distribute a product or service to consumers. Sun faced a challenge when launching the Java programming language. No computers could run it. Sun broke the logjam when it bundled the JVM with Netscape's browser. When firms don't have distribution channels, they create them. That's what Apple did when it launched the Apple retail stores a little over a decade ago. Microsoft is in a particularly strong position to leverage this approach. The firm often bundles its new products into its operating systems, Office Suite, Internet Explorer browser, and other offerings. Caution is advised. Regional antitrust authorities may consider product bundling by dominant firms to be anti-competitive. Subsidizing consoles is a common practice in the video game industry. Giving away products for half of a two-sided market is an example of seeding the market. Adobe gives away the Acrobat Reader to build a market for the sale of software that creates Acrobat files. Firms with Yellow Page directories give away countless copies of their products delivered straight to your home in order to create a market for selling advertising. Consignment firm thredUP buys clothing from one group of customers, then photographs and warehouses them for resale to others. Sending high-quality used clothes to thredUP can be quick cash, but it can lead to a lopsided market where supply exceeds demand. In order to seed the buy side for its clothing, it encourages sellers to become buyers too. thredUP will give clothes sellers immediate purchase credit or cash available in 2 weeks. There are several ways to motivate others to create complementary goods for the network. A firm may charge lower royalties or offer a period of royalty-free licensing. It can also offer free software development kits, SDKs, training programs, co-marketing dollars, or even startup capital to potential suppliers. Microsoft and Apple both allow developers to sell their products online through Xbox Live Marketplace and iTunes, respectively. Venture funds can also prompt firms to create complementary goods. Oculus has a $10 million fund to encourage indie game developers to build for the platform. Slack has announced an $80 million investment fund intended to boost companies that are building products that enhance the firm's business productivity platform. Amazon has a $100 million fund to developers enhancing technologies and providing new apps called Skills by Amazon for its voice-activated Echo products. Apple has taken encouraging developers a step further by offering Swift Playgrounds in the iPad, a kid-focused learn-to-program environment featuring the created by Apple's Swift programming language. The firms that control the standard would also be wise to ensure that new products have backward capability with earlier offerings. If not, they re-enter a market at installed base 0 and give up a major source of advantage, the switching costs built up by prior customers. Backward compatibility was the centerpiece of Apple's strategy to revitalize the Macintosh through its move to the Intel microprocessor. Customers who owned Nintendo's 8-bit video game console were unable to play the same games on the firm's new 16-bit Super Nintendo system. There was little incentive for existing Nintendo fans to stick with the firm. In this case, Nintendo's new offering suffered from a lack of backward compatibility. Apple included a free software-based adapter called Rosetta that automatically emulated the functionality of the old chip on all new Macs. Samsung also leveraged backward compatibility to make Samsung Pay accepted at more retailers than either Apple Pay or Android Pay. It uses a technology called Magnetic Secure Transmission, or MST, which emits a magnetic signal that simulates the magnetic strip found on the back of a credit or debit card. A small subset of POS, or point-of-sale systems, like gas station pumps and ATMs, still require physically inserting a card, but the vast majority of merchant terminals accept the Samsung MST signal. Microsoft's Live Maps and Virtual Earth 3D was a late entrant to the Internet mapping game. Users had already put in countless hours building resources that meshed with Google Maps and Google Earth. However, by adopting the same Keyhole Markup Language, or KML, standard used by Google, any work done by users for Google in KML could be used by Microsoft. Making a new product compatible with the leading standard is a strategy of Microsoft and has allowed it to catch up with Google. Companies will want to consider making new products compatible with the leading standard. On this slide, you can see a small sample of the number of companies that participate in generating new technology. Each one of them is interested in the standards of others in order to maximize the potential deployment of their own technology. Oftentimes, firms that control dominant networks will make compatibility difficult for rivals who try to connect and integrate with their systems. Firms that continually innovate make it particularly difficult for competitors to become compatible. For example, while Macs run Windows, Windows computers can't run Mac programs. Large firms often find new markets attractive, but might not have products ready for delivery, a strategy such firms use to get potential adopters to delay their purchasing decisions is pre-announcement. Pre-announcements only work if a firm is large enough to pose a credible threat to current market participants. While Apple rarely pre-announces products, it previewed the Apple Watch roughly 8 months before it was ready to ship. Rivals from the Kickstarter darling Pebble to Google's Android Wear were courting developers, but Apple's early product demonstration caused many customers considering wearable to hold off until Apple Watch was out. While large, respected firms may be able to influence markets through pre-announcements, startups often lack credibility to delay user purchases. The tech industry acronym for the impact firms try to impart on markets through pre-announcements is FUD, for fear, uncertainty, and doubt. If pre-announcers announce an effort too early, the firm may fall victim to what's known as the Osborne effect. This happens when a firm pre-announces a forthcoming product or service and experiences a sharp and detrimental drop in sales of current offerings as users wait for the new item to come out. Sometimes a network effect attracts too many users and a service can be overwhelmed to the point it is no longer usable. These so-called congestion effects occur when increasing numbers of users lower the value of a product or service. This most often happens when a key resource becomes increasingly scarce. An example of congestion effects is when you are at a packed stadium for a big game and you want to upload a photo of your team's touchdown using Instagram. Your mobile phone shows 5 bars for service, but you still can't access the internet because so many users are participating on the network. This concludes Chapter 8. Thank you.